All right, we can go ahead and get started. Thank you all for joining Sharing is Caring, or is it, as part of our Talking Data series in honor of Data Privacy Week 2024. This is the first session in our Talking Data series. And my slides are stuck. Data Privacy Week is an international effort to empower individuals, safeguard data, and enable trust. Data Privacy Week originated as Data Privacy Day and was expanded into a full week-long campaign in 2022. This year's theme is Take Control of Your Data, and it's all about how you can take small, actionable steps to take control of your data. And with that, I will kick it off to Lisa Plagmeyer, our Executive Director at the National Cybersecurity Alliance.
Thanks, Lucas. Hi, everybody. Let's see, I'm still seeing the slide. There we go. So hopefully you're just seeing Jen and myself now. I'm Lisa Plagmeyer. I'm the Executive Director. We're the National Cybersecurity Alliance. So we're best known for being the founders of Cybersecurity Awareness Month, but we're also big fans of privacy during Data Privacy Week. And I'm joined today by Jen Mahoney, a manager in data governance and privacy at Optiv. Jen, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, thanks, Lisa. Thanks for having me today. I joined Optiv almost 2 years ago now, after working in the corporate privacy space. I had been a consultant previously in the regulatory compliance realm, went to the corporate side and decided I liked the puzzle solving aspect of consulting. So came back over and had an opportunity to join Optiv here about 2 years ago. So enjoying working with our clients, primarily focused in privacy and governance topics.
Thanks for being with us. So when most consumers think about data privacy, one of the first things they think of is advertising and how intrusive it can be. When cookies were a new thing and we realized that advertisers were following us around the internet, there was a little bit of a creepiness factor there. The world is changing regarding cookies, but there's still a little creepiness factor when we're sitting at the dinner table talking about something, and then lo and behold, a day later, we started seeing ads for that thing we were talking about. So talk to us a little bit about the pre and post cookie world and what you're seeing when it comes to data privacy and advertising.
Yeah, so cookies are just dropped on our devices in order to collect information about us and help marketers put together a picture about consumers or about audiences to whom they wish to target their products or services to. And as we are currently kind of emerging to this post-cookie world, as we say, what does that mean for us as consumers, for us as privacy professionals, and for the advertising market as well, advertising industry? Our devices do listen to us. I currently have 2 cell phones sitting on my desk along with my laptop and computers here. I have smart TVs in my home. I recently purchased a hybrid vehicle after much discussion with my husband over the course of the preceding 2 years or so. And, all of the things that we have in our homes, not just the things that we expect or have traditionally expected in terms of our phones or our smartwatches and things like that, but smart is being integrated into additional things, appliances. I was looking at my internet settings to make sure I was going to be nice and stable for this event, and somebody got a new dishwasher because there is a Samsung dishwasher network available to me now. So these other devices that are becoming part of our Internet of Things in our homes and in our businesses and in the world that we live in, they do have capability to listen with voice activated features and assistant devices built into them. And when we are agreeing to the terms and conditions, hopefully you're reading these things, we are agreeing to information being collected about us in a number of different ways, and that information being shared back to the manufacturer and to their advertising partners. That post-cookie transition, what that means for us is increased privacy. It gives us more control as consumers. The goal that companies have, the internet browser companies have had about kind of announcing this transition to no longer supporting cookies, is to create a browsing experience that is more private, more transparent, more trustworthy for consumers. And that means that advertisers need to change their perspective and their approach, right? So how does that transition our experience? And what I think we're going to see as consumers or what we are seeing as consumers, is more ads, higher ad density, and paywalls, more attempt for collecting first-party data instead of using these third-party cookies to help create the profile for whether or not individuals are the audience that the advertiser is hoping to reach, giving a different path to building profiles to make sure that advertising dollars are realized, getting those returns on investments.
So less free content. Some of that desirable content that we like to read might not be free. You might need a subscription. So and part of that equation is because they're not able to monetize that the way they were previously. Is that, am I understanding that correctly?
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
Everybody's going to make their money somehow.
Somehow, and
yeah.
Yes. And
So,
to make sure that those dollars are being spent in the right places without cookies, advertisers have less information available to them. And so, we see those more ads, more invasive. My experience is more invasive ads. I accidentally click on things that I didn't mean to.
yeah.
Sometimes that doesn't mean that the ad is pertinent to me. It just means it was in my way.
Yeah, and I often wonder how much noise is in the data
Right.
on the other side of that. How many of us click on ads by mistake? I think I probably do it at least once a day. If I'm scrolling through something and I hit click and then that ad renders and whoops, that click was actually for that ad instead of what I was aiming for. I'm sure that's got to be a significant portion of the data that they're collecting, or people that got there by accident, got to the ad by accident. So if I'm a business, you talked about giving consumers having more control, and we'll talk a little bit about why they do or don't take advantage of that in a minute. But talk to me a little bit first about what that means for the companies as far as preference management, and if consumers are meant to have more control, then what do I need to be thinking about to make sure that I'm giving them those options?
Yeah, increasingly, I can't say that's a blanket requirement yet to give consumers control of their data. The nature of things in the United States is that we don't have federal laws impacting this. There are a lot of industry frameworks and best practices, and privacy law is catching up, I guess, with the explosion of state level laws and a number of sectoral laws that we do have here in the US. But outside the United States, many companies are global and have a global reach, even if that's not intended, right? You have a product that goes viral on one of the social media sites, and all of a sudden you've got a wider audience than what you thought you were marketing to, visiting your site or searching for your products. International privacy laws such as GDPR, et cetera, do have requirements for individuals being able to exert control and maintain control over their data. And so having a preference management solution that will enable individuals to choose how you communicate with them, what mechanism of communication, whether they receive text messages or emails, et cetera, the frequency of those communications. Those are the things that we're talking about when we talk about preference management. And it is becoming increasingly necessary from a regulatory perspective, but also it's a value driven thing for your consumers to recognize that you are giving them that choice, and to engender trust and a relationship of trust and respect between you and your consumer. That you ask for their information and that you treat it respectfully while you have it, right? Honor their wishes, communicate as they desire, and um, that also enables you to centralize your processes, so that when someone does make a choice, has communicated to you what their preferences are, having a preference management program solution can enable that choice to flow through your systems, make sure that all the folks who are touching their data across your company and across your ecosystem of vendors and support personnel are seeing the same information. And then, it's also giving you better information so that you can target your efforts and segment your data and segment your audience in order to, hit them appropriately with the ad types or the services and products that they're looking for.
So one of the things we see at the National Cybersecurity Alliance is that some of these settings can move around. So there's an update to a social media app, for example, and suddenly it might break some of your privacy settings, or the place where you go to manage those has moved around, or individual tasks are not where you are used to seeing them. So Lucas, if you can share it in the chat, we actually have a web page where we keep track of, we have direct links to a whole bunch of popular applications, direct links straight to the privacy and security settings, so that you can take advantage of that. But I think in some cases it is kind of hidden, and it can be really difficult. I just learned in the last couple of weeks about something called content recognition on streaming apps. I had no idea that this existed, and I'm a person who cares about this stuff, so I can't imagine people like my mom or my kids paying attention to this. But if it's turned on, then the streaming app is able to sort of follow you around your viewing habits and figure out what else you're watching, and monetize that data, use it for themselves or share it with others, sell it to others. And that's found in a very obscure place on the particular streaming app I was looking at. Any other examples along those lines where there's maybe terminology that isn't quite clear, like content recognition, or it doesn't sound like they're actually sharing your data, and you would really have to do some digging on what it is to figure it out? Any other examples like that? Or it seems we'll cover some tips for consumers in a moment, but I think in some ways, good, bad, or otherwise, there are some companies making it difficult on consumers.
Absolutely. And I think my brain has gone blank in terms of other terms that are used for this type of thing. But, kind of exactly to your point, you're an educated audience in terms of this topic, but how often when you get a notification, you get the annual privacy notice or a notification that the privacy terms have changed to whatever service you're subscribed to or product that you're subscribed to, how often do you go in and reread those terms? Or, you're thinking that you're rereading them. I know my phone, I feel like I get a push notification like once a month or once every other month that the terms and conditions have changed. And more often than not, I'm doing 25 other things. So I swipe that notification away, and I probably don't go back and read it to see exactly, what those things are. But, as capabilities change, and we have seen in the last year with the advent, not the advent, AI has been around for decades, but with the accessibility, the not sudden, but some of now the prevalent accessibility of AI tools in everyone's hands, and making things easier both individually and in business to get our hands on AI and the opportunities that it presents. There is increased risk as well. And so being aware of where there are data capture opportunities that have changed, data sharing, and those AI algorithms that are being applied to your streaming choices and making the recommendation for the next thing, or the reading apps that we use. Since you read this, we think you'll like, books by this author, or titles along this topic. These are all things that are driven by algorithms based on our choices and choices made by folks in our segment, right? Women who are in a certain industry, of a certain age, certain status that we have shared when filling out our profiles on these apps and devices, and all of that information being used to serve us, whether we whether we appreciate that or not. That's what they're trying to do, is to meet our need and get us to do more, whether that's buy more, or interact more, or share more data.
I think that's part of the dilemma for consumers, is we've all gotten used to highly customized content, whether we realize it or not. There are a lot of conveniences and features and recommendations and things that come to us because these companies know so much about us. And to a certain extent, we enjoy that, right? It helps us to
Absolutely.
sift through all the noise. If you've gotten to know me as a customer, then you can serve things up to me that are more relevant to me, and it kind of shortcuts things in a lot of ways. It makes it easier to hunt things down and make purchasing decisions and all that stuff. So I think that's what's really difficult, is that we do see some benefits as consumers, and so that benefit and convenience trade-off that we're making with security and privacy. I think, just when I think about all the different ways this data is being collected, I think it's a decision that we're making without even realizing that we're making it. Whether or not we want to protect our privacy more as in trade-off for some convenience or some speed. So what can consumers do then to be more aware of what they're sharing? What steps can they take?
Yeah, for awareness, I mean, first of all, read the privacy policies and the notices that you receive with devices. I think it was about 2 years ago, my sister puts together Christmas lists for my nephews, right? And my nephew is a teenager now, and hopefully he won't watch this. I don't want to embarrass him, but she wanted a step tracker for him, and I that was my item to buy. I was like, okay, got it. And so I said, do you want it to connect to his phone? Do you want it to, do all these fancy things? And she's like, well, this would be nice. This would be nice. Okay. So I went in and read all the privacy policies, and I narrowed things down to 2 options that I was okay with, right? And I highlighted some areas and sent those to my sister. And I said, before I buy this, because you're going to be the one that approving the terms and conditions, I need you to read these and tell me that it's okay, right? So with the data sharing
Did
policies and
she?
things like that, right? She did.
Wow.
She rolled her eyes at me first,
Of
right?
course. She is your
But
sister.
she's my sister, but she's also a teacher, and so very, very aware of actions taken to protect children, right? And the things that protect kids. So she did, and she let me know that she was fine with both, and so then it was my final choice. But we just talked through things. So read the terms and conditions, be aware of changes to those, and then you know stay on top of it because things change and technology is changing, and technology is changing very fast right now. So don't ignore those push notifications and those emails that we get. And one of the things that I do, that and I have to say that I don't do as well at this as I intended to, but I have multiple email addresses, and so when I'm signing up for things, I use an email address that I get those notifications to, and my order confirmations to, and things like that, and that's separate from email addresses that I use for other things, such as personal communication and things like that. So I can kind of segment my life in my inbox as well as I can in other areas.
Yeah, you've talked about reading the T's and C's. The other thing I think that people forget about is, well, in business, we think of, not collecting or storing more data than you absolutely need because you've got to protect it, right? It's actually a liability. A couple of years ago when we were all digging into, data lakes and data warehouses and data management was kind of a new thing. Everybody thought, well, just give me everything, right? Especially if you were in marketing or advertising. And now I think we realize, like, no, I don't want everything, because then I got to keep it private. I got to keep it secure. So as consumers, I think we can think about that the same way. Think of all the apps that are on your phone that you might not have touched in a year, or longer in some cases. Does that app still need to be there? And then what I need to tell people like my mom is, you can't just delete the app. You need to delete your account. And a lot of companies give us now the right to be forgotten, which I think originally came out of GDPR. Take advantage of that. If you're not doing business with an organization anymore, or there's an app you're not using, an account you no longer want to have, or one you don't need, then don't just delete it. Ask to have your account deleted. It'll be buried again somewhere in the options under settings. There's probably a place where it's to completely delete your account. Some organizations will make you email them or open a service ticket or something to actually get your data deleted. Some companies make it easy and some don't. But just deleting the app is not enough, correct?
That's absolutely correct. Yeah, just that simple uninstall does nothing behind the scenes as far as your data hygiene and the relationship you have with that organization, right? They don't necessarily see that you uninstalled it, and they still have your account active and information. The other thing too is to beware of duplicate accounts, and so to make sure that you only have one account. This is a thing that my family does with the new year. So we just went through this process of kind of double checking our bank statements and credit card statements and making sure that we're not paying twice for streaming services or subscription services. And we found 3 actually where my husband signed up for something and I had signed up for something, and oh my goodness. So, decide on the one that serves your family, delete as you explained, request your information to be deleted, delete your account, close your account, and save yourself money as well as preserve your data at the same time.
So we have some questions and some comments coming in. So let's move to those. So far, we have a comment. The AI saves me search time for the next big thing I want to binge on streaming, because it helps me, because it knows my preferences. So that's maybe somebody who sees that the benefits outweigh the risks of somebody following their viewing preferences. One person asked, what is the difference between targeted ads and product recommendations?
Yeah, so there's a difference in ads based on no previous interaction that you've had with the organization versus the fact that I purchased running shoes, so now I'm going to receive ads for workout gear or socks related to the purchase that I've already made, right? Versus just the fact that I am a woman of a certain age and there are things that you think a company thinks I might like as a result. That I have dogs and maybe they see that on a profile picture or in a social media post or something. And so I start getting ads based on simply the fact that I have dogs, not the fact that I have purchased dog food or have, new leashes and things like that.
So Rebecca comments that there's now, and I didn't know this, so I learned something today, so I'm going to share her comment. There's a requirement on all apps now that if you create a profile within the app, you have to be able to delete your account within the app. So that's really good to know.
Yes. And apps, I have seen where apps getting banned or what's the word?
Kicked off the App Store.
Kicked off until they comply. Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Seeing increased enforcement around that.
Good. Do consumers have the ability to opt out of the terms and conditions highlighting collection of our data? Is it, or is it possible to still participate in something or use an app or whatever if you decline?
Your option is to not use that app. in terms of opt-out. I remember a story from a colleague where a little bit different thing, but the rewards program at a grocery store. You know, you can give me the discounts and you don't need my information, and they ended up, you know, you talked to customer service and ended up receiving a card without sharing personal information. And one of our local grocery stores has now done away with that rewards program. They still have sales and they still advertise things the same way, but whether or not I enter my phone number or if people still scan cards, I still have them. I don't scan them anymore, but you know, I get the discount anyway. So sometimes now you can then go in and change your preferences in terms of the sharing of your data, but in order to prevent collection in the first place, uh, I, I I don't think so. Your option there is to find another solution for the thing you're trying to accomplish with that app.
Peter asks this question. Pete, I think that organizations purposely make those privacy settings complicated and difficult. Is there any effort to mandate a level of simplicity that is easier to digest and understand? They have all the latitude in the world to create plausible deniability.
Yeah, and that's to your point, Lisa, with that you know, the terms that we don't readily recognize to accomplish the thing that we're trying to do around our managing our privacy and managing our personal information. Yeah, it can be very confusing, and some of the efforts include universal opt-out on browsers. And the requirement, this is in some of the state-specific privacy laws here in the United States and also in GDPR, that if you turn on a setting on your browser and you have a plugin on your browser, any site you visit, your browser sends a message to not collect your data. And it is not law that is recognized right now in the United States, but increasingly that is coming, where any effort to make things easier to control data, there are some efforts taking place. How quickly we will see that and recognize that as consumers across the board, of course, remains to be seen. But you know, we are seeing increased realization by individuals of the value of their data, and companies and organizations are responding responding appropriately to create trust in those relationships and maintain that relationship with you and your data.
So one last question. Somebody asked, what do we think of the Consumer Reports permission slip app? I can say that I haven't heard anything bad about it, only good things. Full disclosure, we partner with Consumer Reports on things, but what do you think?
Same. I haven't used it myself, but I have heard good things. I've read good things. That was kind of on my list to explore, and just not one that I've gotten to yet. But it sounds like a nice alternative to kind of investigate exactly this topic and give or revoke permission that you have given to companies around your data and their data sharing.
Yeah, same with me. I think I've downloaded and haven't started using it yet. I haven't had the chance. Well, thank you very much. This has been super helpful. Great to have you with us today, Jen. Lucas, do you want to close us out?
Sorry about that. Thank you all for joining. The webinar recording and slides will be available on our website by tomorrow morning. Here are some additional resources that you can check out to help you learn more about data privacy and to help take control of your data. And please join us for the remaining Talking Data sessions throughout the week. Tomorrow we'll be hosting a webinar with Consumer Reports called Give Data Brokers the Slip at 3 p.m. Eastern. And the link to register will be included in the follow-up email that goes out as well. And please follow us on our social media and check us out at our website at StaySafeOnline.org. Thank you all for joining.